Jason Miller.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. I'm Jordan Perkowski. If you want to take a seat. As the email I sent you, I was wondering if you could help me out today and just answer a couple of questions for a survey I'm doing.
Yes, no problem.
Actually, as I told you before, this topic is The Office, the NBC show that's been going on for the past 5 or 6 seasons.
Yeah.
Just have to ask a couple general questions. First off, how old are you?
19.
19. And do you go to college?
Yes, I attend the University of Akron. I'm a freshman.
You're a freshman? Okay. And at the University of Akron, do you know what your major is as a freshman?
I'm studying graphic design in the art department.
Okay, the art department. So
Yes.
you'll probably get into maybe website designing,
Yes, hopefully.
working for companies, just setting up different websites.
That's the plan.
Okay. And as you know, the show is pretty popular. What would you say the percentage of your peers who watch the show, like in the dorms, what would you say that would be about?
I would say 20-25%, but the ones who don't watch it do know what it is and that it's really popular and stuff.
Wow, so almost a quarter of fellow students watch the show?
That's what I would say.
And you hear them talking in class, or?
More outside, and my friends talk about it and
Okay.
of that nature.
Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, how accurate would you say the show is compared to like a real life business or organization?
I would say about a 7, just because they do have the different departments in the branch, like accounting, human resources. They have a corporate branch. They have sales department and things like that.
Mm-hmm. So they all are placed in the office and they all have to work together.
Yes.
Is what you're saying is the most accurate
Yes.
assessment of the show. Okay. If you were to describe the show, given these 3 choices, how would you describe it? Is unbelievable, somewhat believable, or totally believable?
I would have to go with somewhat believable because the business does deal with real life situations such as closing down and dealing with competition, but the way that they deal with some situations, I would say, isn't so much realistic.
Mm-hmm. Maybe just kind of for the comedic
Yes.
standpoint of the show. Okay, and as you know, the show is kind of directed where they take different employees and like take them to a different conference room or something, and kind of just, they don't actually ask them questions one-on-one, but they talk to the camera and give their views. And would you say this is done more to show the character's individuality, or just to spend time developing the big plot or the bigger picture of the show?
I would say to develop the character's individuality because they do give their input and how they feel on things that are actually happening in that show around the office and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. And I've seen the show before. There is a wide range of character personalities. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks. And out of these 3 choices, what would you say is the most accurate part of the show? The managerial decisions of Michael Scott, who is the acting manager of the Scranton branch, the decision-making of the corporate employees in New York City, or the extra team-building activities that the Scranton office participates in, such as like the volleyball day. I think they had an episode, and I think they also had like a wilderness survival kind of activity for the one weekend.
I would say the extra team building activities because lots of businesses in real life do have communication seminars and send their employees to discussions and presentations about leadership and
Just to build team morale and
yes.
communication between everyone. Okay. Speaking of Michael Scott, even though he is very successful at what he does, how long do you think upper management would actually keep him as a manager at Dunder Mifflin? Would you say until he retires, less than 2 years, or even less than 1 month?
I would say less than 2 years because with the background of the show, he did work there growing up as a salesman or salesperson, and once his manager decided to retire, he was put in place of that, and I think he sort of earned his place in the business and
just for improving himself
Yes.
more? Okay. And moving on, from a standpoint of dislike of characters, out of these 5 characters, which would you not get along with the most, or which do you dislike the most? Manager Michael Scott, Secretary Pam Beasley, Salesman Jim Halpert, Dwight Schrute, or Angela from accounting?
I would say Angela from accounting because she's the most strict one. She's not really outgoing, doesn't particularly participate in all of the the business activities, and isn't very cheerful at all towards anybody.
Yeah. Would you say that's maybe like a negative stereotype of accounting department? Just that they kind of keep to themselves and they don't.
Not particularly, because in the show there's 3 of them. One's the more strict one, and then there's a homosexual, and then there's the more bigger, not fat but bigger, accountant who's just kind of lazy and doesn't really talk much.
Okay. And out of those characters, Michael Scott, Pam Beasley, Jim Halpert, and Dwight Schrute, which would you say that you like the best for the show, and why?
I would have to go with Michael Scott because he is the comic of the show. He does have childlike traits that everybody can relate to, and he's wants to be everybody's friend, which brings comedy to the show because he can't be everybody's friend. Lots of people find him annoying.
Yeah, pretty much for the most part, I think they view him as annoying and kind of not too mature for his age. Okay, also with Michael Scott, if you were given these 4 adjectives to describe him, what would you say best fits him? Either A, outgoing, B, innovative, always coming up with new ideas and trying to better the company, C, demanding manager, or D, a leader?
I would go with outgoing, based on he's always trying to be the funny one in the group that everybody thinks is funny, and therefore they will like him, but it always doesn't work out that way. And he's always trying to crack jokes even though they're not needed in certain times where they're inappropriate.
Yeah, it's kind of just out there, but good for the show.
Yeah, he's a goofball.
Yeah, for them to watch him. Okay. And out of the salesmen from the show, which of these characters do you think creates the best relationships with their customers? Would it be A, Jim, the younger guy from the team? He kind of just came in a couple years ago. Dwight, or Stanley?
I would say Jim because he's the most normal one looked at in the show. He's easier to talk to than Dwight because he's pushy and is just trying to get the sale. And Stanley doesn't really care that much. He's lazy and just wants to get the job done. Where Jim, he actually sort of shows caring traits and stuff towards their customers.
So with Dwight, then you said that he's kind of pushy with his customers, but he does create something for them. He does make them want to buy product from them. With Dwight, would you say that his pushiness or his persuasiveness, would you say that is a big reason that he makes a lot of sales? B, neutral, or C, actually hurts his overall sale revenue?
I would say neutral because there are certain customers who will not tolerate his pushiness and will just hang up on him. But he does try to offer the best and uses adjectives to describe their business and has his own little methods of getting the sale.
Even though they may be unorthodox, they are
Yes.
somewhat positive for him.